racism doesn't exist. I knew that things were bad but from the blacks toward the whites, but until I read that book, I had no idea how bad it was. Because the media don't tell you everything. They don't really, if it's a black on white crime, they don't say black person attacked white person. They'll say youth or, a mob or something like that. And so the message is really not getting out. Do you think the media is afraid to report that it's a black person doing this or black people? Or they want to cover it up so that this warfare race war or violence can continue?
All of the above. The Society of Professional Journalists, the National Association of Black Journalists, and other places, they have they have seminars about how to cover black crime.
Wow.
And I could, if anybody wants to take that seminar, I could save you a couple $100. Here's how you cover black crime. Don't. There's a good example. For example, just yesterday in the LA Times, huge story. It said, there's in these malls around the country, there's lots of teens that are causing trouble, causing the malls to close early. And, we're really worried about the ACLU's going, well, you can't stop the teens. Well, today, last night in Anderson, South Carolina, little story, 200 black people rampaged through a mall, fighting, destroying property, defying police, and the same coverage in Anderson as it was here, the same papers that every day are hyper alert to every story about black people. If you look in the LA Times yesterday and today, you'll see 20 stories about, the black thing, whatever it is they're writing about.
Right.
Except the idea that and I've been documenting this for the last couple of years, the Christmas violence, the fact that there's been over 100 malls that have been subject to black mob violence over the holidays. I mean, they could sit there and not connect the dots and say there's something wrong and this is a black thing. Yeah. We've never seen Asian kids, never seen white kids do this.
That's right. That's right. And I hear all the time, well, white people do this too. Poor white people do it, but you don't really hear it because it's not happening. Believe me, if it was happening, we would hear about it.
If it was happening, how many people are on this planet right now who would like to take that video and shove it right in your face and say, I told you?
That's right.
About 1 million.
Yeah.
Guess what? If they could,
that's right.
They would.
Are you surprised at the environment, or do you think that Obama created an environment that has caused this even more so to happen?
I didn't used to think that, but I do now.
And why you didn't think it before?
Because I didn't know what he was doing before.
Oh, okay.
And here's what the people that are taking office January 20th, all the cabinet members, all the department heads are gonna be confronted with day one. They're going to be confronted with the fact that for the last 8 years, Obama has made racial hostility, racial resentment part of the DNA of the federal government.
Yes.
So in the EPA, we learn about environmental racism. At the Department of Justice, we learn that there's too many black people in prison for no reason whatsoever, and cops are picking on black people for no reason whatsoever. In the military academy, they teach white privilege. The only reason, there's these white kids sitting in these desks at a military academy is because of white privilege. And so this is top to bottom. And they're not hiding it either, by the way, right?
Right.
They're very proud of it.
Yep.
And so now, on day one, January 20, every one of those guys and girls and gals is going to have to decide, am I okay with this? Or am I going to set this right and get rid of all this racial consciousness that causes all this resentment?
That's
Something
right.
for us to watch.
I saw that Martin Luther King III, he went to visit with Trump, and now he's saying nice things about working with Trump. I saw Steve Harvey went to visit with, and none of those guys supported Trump at all. As a matter of fact, I've heard Steve say some bad things about Trump during the primaries, and now they're going to get involved. And because Obama has created this environment, I'm not sure if Donald Trump, I don't know if he's going to let him in or not. I'm not sure if he should, because those people are not there because they love Trump. They're there because they got this program where they're going to be working in the inner cities, and they're there for their money and power. And so when this whole race issue come up, If they are part of the administration in any form or fashion, then Trump team would not be able to do what they need to do.
I mean, they send out teams of investigators, Department of Education, Department of Justice, to schools all over the country to compare the numbers on discipline and performance.
Yeah.
If there's any gap, there's only one reason only. That's white racism.
That's right.
And so the Department of Education, that woman, day one, she's going to have to decide: am I okay with that?
Yeah.
Am I okay with that fairy tale? I don't know that a lot
It's
of them
going to
are
be
going to fight that.
interesting to see that happen. Amazing. That is amazing. Amazing. Amazing.